Hey Dan, how are you?
Yeah, not too bad, Raina. How are you?
Good. Well, thank you so much for joining us today, Dan. So
No worries.
in our Sales Leaders Empowering series, we are honored to have Daniel Sutic from Sophos join us. Dan has a foundation in marketing spanning over a decade, having held numerous roles within APJ responsibilities. 2020 saw change in career direction, where he presently leads an APJ sales team, I think the SDR team, a function where he's had extensive collaborative experience. So thank you, Dan, for joining us. I know I haven't covered everything about your career. So if you could tell us a little bit about your career journey so that our audience can relate to you.
Yeah, no worries. So started almost, I think, 12 or 13 years ago now, fresh-faced out of university, starting as a marketing associate at Big Blue at IBM. And I've had the opportunities and privileges to climb up that career pole, if you will, elaborating and growing on top of my marketing skills. So essentially graduating from being an associate all the way to being into the field marketing sphere, working very closely with direct sales and business partners as well, which has been a huge highlight of my career, and working at some really amazing organizations that has led me today at Sophos.
What do you think is really required to be a fantastic sales leader?
A sales leader, okay.
Yeah, because you're managing the SDR team.
Yeah.
The three top things you've been able to identify are important, and you've been able to implement.
Got you. So from my point of view, the way that I like to approach managing my team is you're in this position because you know what you're doing, and I always approach from the point of view that they are smarter than me. They're in that role specifically for what they are doing. I'm not here to tell them how to do their job. I'm here to enable them. So with that mindset of, right, you're here because you're the ones making the calls. You're the ones that are prospecting. And then from my point number two of being an enabler, that's how I approach and I'm finding it works so far because we're all adults. We all know what we need to do and what is expected of us and from us. So if you approach your team and individuals in that way, I find the reciprocation and the respect comes. It's earned. You can't have that just given to you. It's no such thing. But that's the way that I approach Arena.
No. Great. And you're managing across the globe as well, so that that you're understanding different people, where they're from, values are different.
Exactly.
Okay, brilliant. Given the fact, at Sophos, for example, would you say from a growth perspective and in the cybersecurity space, you've from trends over the last, I wouldn't call it post-pandemic anymore. So the last 12 months has just been a change in mindset for businesses. It's been a shift for organizations. I mean, in the cybersecurity space, in the IT sector, Daniel, what have you seen has been, going back to just having a look at your background. You've come from Rackspace, and then you worked at MuleSoft, and then you're now at Sophos. So you've been there. You've seen how revenue channels have grown, and then you've seen where the growth has been based on what's happening in the market. What has been the biggest shift in this sector in the last 12 months?
Look, I think inclusive of the IT space, but also broadening the industry lens, the working from home for a few organizations, and dare I say, being simplistic and just putting a general span on a few industries was a challenge. I know that a few organizations, each to their own, this isn't criticism or anything, but it's more around the fact that it is what it is, were not prepared for remote working. And that was interesting to see and converse about with individuals outside of my company and completely different industry where, there were shortages of laptops where organizations were telling employees, hey, you got to go buy one. And then that in itself presents opportunities, but also challenges. And with that cybersecurity mindset, there are just so many potential vulnerabilities in that. So I think the shift has really been in the mindset of organizations thinking about their cybersecurity posture and being like, okay, right, if we are going to be enabled to work from wherever we want, regardless if it's still a preference to go back into the office at full time or a particular percentage, whatever it may be, it has forced a lot of organizations to rethink how they work. And then including that, everyone's got IP, and it's how to protect that and how to protect any vulnerabilities from potential cyber attacks.
You look for in an ideal SDR? Three things you look for.
For me, the most important one is being able to demonstrate how proactive you are. I always, regardless with any job, even when I was proper marketing, now in SDR, I always have the saying that you're running your own business within a business, right? You have your own patch, you've got your own targets, you've got to approach with that mentality. We're in a fortunate space where we've got a phenomenal marketing team, through various activities, etc. Leads come in, which is great. But, I look at that as a luxury. Not all organizations have that. So we've got to think, what can we do in our sphere of control to, impact our targets and achieve them, and bottom line. So one is proactivity, 100%. If you're able to demonstrate how proactive you are, for me, that is you're already on your way. Right. And again, the part of proactivity is obviously being a go-getter in the sense that you're thinking of different ways to achieve and attain your targets. I like someone who embraces failure because you learn from it. You're not going to get any slack from me from a point of view of, oh, that didn't work. No, it didn't work. What'd you get out of it? How can you make it better? Awesome. Let's do it again. The ideation is another one where I want individuals to, again, think out the square, come up with their own initiatives, thoughts, always happy to run it, but be like a whiteboard, a sounding board, etc., for individuals to come up with certain ideas, and I'll encourage them. So again, it's under that proactivity, umbrella, Raina, but it's you could say that's obviously very important to me. And from that, you get different, shoots. Collaboration, very important. You need to not necessarily be mates with everyone, but you need to be willing to actually build a positive rapport with members of the sales organization and have a positive working relationship. So with all those three things, so proactivity, ideation, just being creative and not resting on your laurels, and also being extremely collaborative. Those are three things that I look for in my SDRs. And
I think the whole learning which comes along with, you'd fail first. So the failure, knowing to adapt to failure.
Yeah, but also embracing it.
I like those, embracing it.
Yeah, because for me, I have an environment where I encourage it. You've got to embrace it, because if you're not failing, you're not trying.
The whole growth mindset.
Yeah, absolutely.
Completely. No, brilliant. I think that's given us some great insight. I mean, I love the whole, I think you've given, it's very different to what I hear from sales leaders, because it's all about attitude, skills, and but I think you dig a bit deeper with your background as well. So the whole proactivity idea, I like the ideation is a good one, because it comes with your marketing background, which is what I love. Collaboration, so important. Teamwork. Being able to kind of talk to that, which was great. And then the whole failure and being able to adapt and embrace it. So brilliant. I think that's some really good insight there for all our job seekers. Daniel, thank you so much for your time this afternoon.
Don't mention it. All good.